don't understand. Very few people are creating problems, and that's why I said they have to either repent because they're creating problem for the whole people to suffer. It cannot happen. So it will not be only the retired permanent secretary, the retired senior people or the retired workers, but everybody in Akwa Ibom. God is expecting them to join a train to become what God has prepared us for. And for the leader now, the moment politically is Pastor Moino. That's why I talked about the actual engine, the powerhouse. It's not even the commissioners or the permanent secretary or the secretary of government, but the prayer group. If there is anybody that has stolen the money that he has done very well to make money available for the disabled. The money was made for the people who are more or less disabled because they are poor. By the former governor who is now the president, the Senate president. But up till today, people that wanted that money were given. They couldn't come out and apologize and tell the people this thing was to be a revolving on the Mr. Speaker. I don't know where you were. That thing bothers me. And the moment you don't repent and then still put yourself as if you are doing good, you are an hypocrite, except you repent for such people to be utilized to still circulate. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Parliamentarian. Of course, very, very grave concerns as far as the issue of, consistently praying for Akwa Ibom State is concerned, consistently praying for our leaders is concerned. It is one thing for Governor Pastor Umono to start up on the right foot. It's another thing for him to end. And of course, the Bible have said, "Beta is the end, then it is the beginning." I mean, the end justifies it all. So it's been commended that he's starting off on the right foot. It's been commended that the steps taken so far, especially his move to, build bridges across party lines, across different interests, is built to reconcile every individual and stakeholders in the interest of building Akwa Ibom State, in the interest of, collective development as a people has been praised and widely commended. But whether or not the governor will be able to sustain that has also been a very serious concern that has been raised. But I'd like to hear from you this morning, 0902-223-1011 or 0817-624-8565. That's the number to join the conversations. And of course, you can also drop your comment on Facebook page, Planet Radio 101.1 FM, or you do well to follow, like, comment, and share. And of course, be part of a growing community. And yesterday we started on that discussion with the reactions of which have continued to trail the meeting between His Excellency Governor Pastor Umoino with the Forum of Retired Permanent Secretaries over lingering issues of their pensions. And over time, we have to go down memory lane a little bit down to the just concluded administration. There were different concerns, different calls. I think the last move made by the Pension Society of Nigeria was to go on a statewide protest, but that was just shelved a few hours rather before the May Workers' Day celebration. And the Moino is coming in. I recall during that Worker Day celebration, he did promise he was going to look into the different issues surrounding welfare of workers in the state. And many have said he's already taking the steps, and we'll have to watch and see where the steps will lead us. And of course, trust Akwa Ibomites, trust Nigerians. We are all waiting and we're all eager to see the transformation that will be brought about by the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Moving away from that to the very second motions on the floor of the House, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu has vowed to reform the financial system in Nigeria and ensure transparency in budgetary processes. Now, this one is currently trailing a lot of reactions from Nigerians. Now, the first thing off, recall the saga that we all endured in pain. For the first time, Nigeria had to buy the Naira with Naira. So you had to buy 5,000 Naira with 2,000 Naira, 5,000 with 3,000. Many of us suffered so much within that period called the cash crunch as a result of the cash redesign policy brought about by the former or the embattled CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele. Recall also that the CBN governor is currently under probe and investigation for his role and all that he's done within the financial institution. We have to go down also. So far, after taking over office, apart from his inaugural speech that brought about the fuel subsidy removal, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu has also regularized the dollar in the market. And of course, the banks are now being allowed to sell the dollar. And of course, apart from that, he's also made a move to unify the exchange rate in the country. And moving away from that, one of the reasons the presidency gave Nigerians for what is currently happening between MEFIL and the Anti-Graft Agency is to find out what actually happened in the Nigerian financial sector and also to ensure that sanity is restored to the sector. I recall just last week, the CBN issued a directive to all financial institutions in Nigeria and of course to place all people who are exposed by virtue of their political offices or by virtue of appointment into public offices, for their account to be consistently monitored to ensure that the level of fraud, corruption and siphoning of public funds is drastically reduced to the barest minimum. Of course, there's also the argument that these activities cannot happen without high power connivance between these politicians and people from the banking sector. But then a lot of Nigerians have said the move by the CBN, the directive from the presidency, if implemented to the later, and we have bank officials who are very much patriotic to Nigeria and to putting an end to the corruption that has bedeviled our institutions, then we will definitely get to a better society. Feel free to join the conversations on 0902-223-1011 or 0817-624-8565. And shortly before we head out for our very first recess, we'll be heading to our Facebook page to take a few comments. Ewok.
And enjoy 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Planet 101.1 FM. Work and never Never get bored with music while you work.
I'm just a country boy. Money have I none, but I've got silver in the stars.
Share that bond of love with family, friends, and colleagues on the Planet 101.1 FM Country Music Half Hour.
Mondays through Fridays, 12:30 to 1 p.m.
Intermittently on Saturdays between 8:30 and 10:30 a.m.
And Sundays between 4:30 and 6 p.m.
Treat me right when we first.
Uplifting.
Offering an alternative.
An unbelievably fair price? Well, here.
Good morning, many thanks for staying tuned. This is the news update at 9. I am Dara Odoma. In the news this morning, President Bola Tinubu appeals to Nigerians to be patient with his government. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu reunites 3 of his successors as governor of Lagos State. Former President Muhammadu Buhari denies asking his successor, President Bola Tinubu, not to probe him and some of his former officials. Governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, orders immediate suspension of all permanent secretaries in various ministries, agencies, and departments. A Delta State House of Assembly approves request by Governor Sharif to take 40 billion naira credit facility for the purpose of clearing lack of pension arrears. Nigerian Navy redeploys senior officers comprising 56 rear admirals and a commodore. Nigerian students enlightened on pros and cons of recently signed Student Loan Act. Now to the foreign scene, France policeman charged over teens traffic stop death near Paris. And in sport, former number one announces return to tennis. And that's the news updates we're bringing to you at this hour on Planet Radio 101.1 FM with you. I am Dara Udoma.
When I saw your call.
Flask, I have upgraded, and this time I'll be the one to spoil you. So get ready.
Wait, don't tell me better thing has landed.
Yes, so Zenith Better Life promo is back with season 3, and I just won a 150k gift card.
Hooray! That's right. Zenith Bank is giving away gifts worth 150,000 naira each to 20 lucky customers every 2 weeks in the Zenith Better Life promo season 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account and maintain a minimum of 5,000 naira. Request and collect a physical or virtual Zenith Bank debit card. Then download and register on the Zenith mobile app or register for *960# Easy Banking. This promo runs from June 1st, 2023 to May 31st, 2024 and is open to new and existing account holders. Terms and conditions apply. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Wow, detergent, I did it again. Wow, it washes a lot and it saves a lot. Wow, now in millions that you wash with. Wow, wash.
1.1 FM, and you know we revolve around you. Today is the very last day on the floor of the People's Parliament and the last day in the month of June 2023. I'm excited to welcome you parliamentarians, and on the floor of the plenary we've been looking at reactions as far as the meeting between Governor Pastor Omoyano with the Forum of Permanent Secretaries over the lingering issues of harmonization of their pensions is concerned, and many have commended the move made by the governor. And of course, if you go down a little bit, recall the forum had instituted a case against the government, but that is currently held, currently being resolved, as a committee has been set up by the governor to try and find lasting permanent solutions to the issues raised by the pensioners. And of course, many Kwapamers have also called on the governor to extend that hand to the retired primary school teachers and their next of kin to make sure that staff welfare in the state, particularly those who are done their service of serving the state and giving their years to building the states well taken care of, and their next of kin also being sorted out in the process. We also talk about the fact that President Tinubu has vowed to reform the financial system in Nigeria and ensure transparency in budgetary process. Now, and if we have to go back memory lane to the just concluded administration led by a former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, that then we were no strangers as Nigerians to the different comment coming out from a National Assembly over how much is being padded into the respective budgets on a yearly basis from the different MDAs. And of course, I will always get to hear XYZ amount of money was padded, and then of course everybody will always try to make justifications or try to exonerate themselves. Well, the President Tinubu has said he's going to ensure there is transparency in the process of our budgets to ensure that no extra addition is added to it, or nothing that is not supposed to be found within the budget finds its way into the budget of the nations. And Nigerians are reacting that yes, we are not necessarily interested in the talks made by the president. We are looking forward to seeing the exact actions that will be implemented by the president and how that will impact on Nigeria as a country. The third motion this morning, INEC denies wasting taxpayers' money at the just concluded national elections, where it failed to upload the election results on its result viewing portal. IRF insists failure recorded during the presidential election should not be used to write off the entire polls held nationwide. INEC voter commissioner and voter education Festus Okoye actually made the comment while fielding questions from journalists, and he said that yes, there were glitches experienced during the just concluded 2023 national election, from the presidential and national assembly elections to the state election that was held across the country, but that the glitches, the failures, the setbacks experienced should not be enough for Nigerians to write off the successes also that was recorded in that regards. And he's also said yes, that INEC did not waste the money, contrary to some comments and reactions from Nigerians that INEC took huge amount of money from the Nigerian purse but did not conduct free, fair, credible and conclusive elections. Reason being why we now have some top contenders within the political sphere currently in court to seek what they call the mandate of the people that was given to them and was rather not discharged by INEC. Let's get to hear your thought this morning. 0902-223-1011, 0817-624-8565. This is the number for you to join us on the floor of the People's Parliament. And of course, you can leave a comment on our Facebook page, Planet Radio 101.1 FM, or leave your listen online as well at www.planet101fm.ng/radio/. Now, going back to the comment sections, we'll be doing this side by side with your call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the plenary.
Hello, Planet Radio. My name is Titus. I'm calling for you.
You say your name is what, please?
Titus. I'm calling from you.
All right, go ahead, Parliamentarian IT.
I was watching that interview yesterday night on Channel Television concerning that INEC commissioner, Festus Okoye statement. The man was just so confused about what's going on. The guy has keep asking him, what do you think is the problem? Is this a human error or machine error? The man cannot give a specific answer of what's going on that day. So to show you that these people know what they did, then God are watching. We are hoping. After court, there is God. Any judge who are judging that case, remember there is God after everything, because judgment of human being It's not judgment of God. We are watching them. God knows what they did that day. They refused to expose themselves. I was squandered 750 billion naira of Nigerian money, all in the name of conducting the election. We are watching. That is my take. That's what I'm giving.
Thank you for joining us on the floor of the People's Parliament. Nigerians are watching. Like you rightly stated, parliamentary the last hope of the common man is the court. And both the PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and that of the Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, have all said that they have absolute confidence and trust in the Nigerian judicial system to deliver justice over the case they have, tabled before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. And as Nigerians, we just have to watch and observe and see what the outcome of the law court is going to be. Let's head back to our Facebook page and take some of the comments where parliamentarian Noye Idiong says, the People's Parliament, good morning parliamentarians, happy our Friday raining morning to you all. Okay, so that means it's raining again today. President Tinubu needs to do more reform on the financial system in Nigeria in making sure that there is more transparency in budgetary process in all angles of government. And please, Governor Pastor Umoino meeting with the Forum of Retired Permanent Secretaries over lingering issues of immunization of their pensions was highly commendable. And I hope to see the governor also doing the same to the retired primary school teachers as well. I also plead with the governor to do what is right to all set of workers in the state, either those in service and those that are retired should be paid without any further delay. That's coming from parliamentarian Noye Idiong. Thanks for joining us, parliamentarian Noye Idiong. Going down still, we have parliamentarian Hope Umor Jr. Okay, let's get to see what parliamentarian Hope Umor Jr. has to say. He says, good morning, Mr. Speaker, the People's Parliament. I have said it severally that the governor's agenda seems to be human development driven. If it continues in this manner, the citizens will feel the impact of government. INEC should bury their heads in shame for not being able to deliver on electronic transfer of results. They insisted on it but could not deliver. That's coming from parliamentarian Hope Umor Jr. Well, the discrepancies and the reason why most of the presidential candidates or the litigations are currently in court borders on the fact that INEC had promised Nigerians that what was witnessed in Osun State and other by-elections conducted before the 2023 general elections, presidential, National Assembly and the states elections was not exactly what INEC had promised Nigerians. That promised, real-time transfer upload of electronic results from the polling units across the different wards and polling units in the states and the country, but that didn't happen. There were reports of altering of result sheets or result booklets. There were results of INEC ad hoc staffs and other agents refusing to upload, and of course a lot of results surface on the internet. A lot of questions posed by Nigerians as to why those incidences actually happen. Another recently delivered a report of the European Union election observers in Nigeria. A lot of areas have been highlighted, part of which is the fact that the technological admission of the 2023 general elections fall short of its expectations on the part of Nigerians, and then INEC, of course, also failed Nigerians in that regard, which, of course, has been a reason why the EU have said Nigerian as a government need to look into these issues, apart from other issues raised, issues bordering on the legalization or the laws surrounding electoral violence, electoral malpractices, electoral offenders, issues bordering on discrepancies or discrimination against women within the political sphere, and of course also issues of widespread violence, voter intimidation, voter oppression, vote buying, and all of those issues that has been raised by the EU observers in Nigeria and Jabari, and they've asked the Nigerian government in order to strengthen the electoral umpire to do due diligence. But let's get back to the phone lines. Waiting for the network to normalize and your calls. Let's get back to the phone line where parliamentarian Didion Obiak says, good morning, Mr. Speaker and other parliamentarians. My comment may not be part of your discuss today, but it can go a long way in helping us. I want people to come out with a program that, okay? Alright, this one is a suggestion. ESV, thank you. We'll definitely look at this suggestion much later outside the course of the People's Parliament. Parliamentarian Festus Utom says, this INEC matter na corruption. So why will the chairman brainwash and scam with the billions of naira allotted for 2023 general elections and IRF electronic result transmission? Okay, this is a question from Parliamentarian Festus Utom asking why INEC would tell Nigerians they were going to upload election results from the polling units and then fail to do so. Well, that's a question the INEC Voter Education Commissioner Festus Okoye actually attempted to answer yesterday. And of course, it's been the question they have consistently attempted to answer shortly after the elections were over and done with and the announcement of the respective candidates from the state elections, the State House of Assembly to the national election, the National Assembly, and of course, the presidential election. Back to the phone line. So good morning. Welcome to the plenary.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome, parliamentarian. Go ahead.
My name is Alex, calling you from Shenodin. I want to commend the governor of Akwa State, Pastor Emmanuel, and Pastor Emmanuel has really proved to apply the mind and the entire people of Nigeria that he is a pastor. One, trying to unite the former governors of Akwa State is a big deal. Two, going to the airport to receive Obon Gosiri that party is a big deal and a challenge at the same time. Three, I work for the state government. For the past government, they have never surprised us the way the minor did last week. Just last week, I received palliative from my office, which has never happened in the past government. So I thank you, and we are shown himself that he will work and surprise the good people of Akwa. So nobody should blame them, and everybody should allow that man to work the way God directed him to work. Thank you so very much. I remain Alex from Senator.
All right, welcome. Thank you very much, Parliamentarian Alex. Palliative for government workers. That's a new twist to the things currently being done by Governor Pastor Umoino. All right, let's head back to the Facebook page where Parliamentarian Master Akaniene Umana says, good morning, Mr. Speaker, and Parliamentarian Akaniene Umana from Mpatak, Ikoruba. How long are we going to continue suffering like this? Please, does our leaders listen to us? The federal government should use the subsidy money to build refineries. If that is done, the price of premium motor spirit will be at the stage where poor people can afford it. Secondly, weeks ago, the federal government have approved the reopening of the country's semi-border. I think it will be a good idea if the remaining borders are being opened. I plead with our president to do something about the country border. Akaniene Umana Mpatak. Okay. Thank you very much, Parliamentarian Akaniene. And yes, indeed, I like to believe, like every Nigerian is believing right now, that our leaders indeed do listen to us and what we, the citizens, say to them. I'd like to get to hear your thoughts. 0902-223-1011 or 0817-624-8565. And heading back to another comment on our Facebook page, we'll be doing that shortly. But let's try to take this call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the plenary. Good morning, Parliamentarian. Okay, have to let you go, but please try and connect us back. I don't know if it's because of the rain or if it's the network providers, whatever the case is, but I truly appreciate you making the efforts to reach out to us.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. You see what Elijah did? I thank God for Pastor Moino. But I wouldn't want anybody to try to spoil what he's trying to build. What Elijah did, because there was a terrible problem in Israel. But Elijah, before he can offer sacrifice acceptable unto God, he had to repair the altar. That's what I'm talking about. And Mr. Speaker, I want you to, I'm not priding if I'm proud of the God I worship. Have you ever heard me mentioning my denomination? That program is Arise, Arise program is the kata for us to reach the right of not to project our denomination, but to project Christ so that our people could be out of slavery.
Indeed, our people need to rise and continue on the path of good. But let's take a short break here and bring you a few commercials. Thereafter, we'll take a second recess and then we'll return after the news, the BBC update in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
concerts on
you a classical and
on Planet 101.1 FM.
Catch all your favorites on Saturdays 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Classical music.
The world of the refined mind.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Nearly 700 people have been arrested across France as protesters clashed with police for a third night over the police killing of a teenager earlier this week. Some of the worst unrest was in the Paris suburb of Nanterre, where the 17-year-old was shot dead at a traffic stop on Tuesday. Negotiators from the International Monetary Fund have agreed a $3 billion bailout loan for Pakistan to help it avert a sovereign debt default. The country is experiencing its worst economic crisis in decades. European leaders meet in Brussels today for a key EU Council summit where they'll discuss the bloc's relationship with China. Some members are expected to argue that the EU has become too economically dependent on Beijing. New figures from China shows that factory activity contracted for the third straight month in June, casting more doubt on the strength of its post-COVID economic rebound. Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen has threatened to block access to Facebook in the country. It comes after Facebook removed a video in which the leader of almost 40 years called for violence against his political opponents. The United Nations Children's Agency has said the situation in Haiti is worse than ever, urging the world not to abandon civilians caught in the gang violence engulfing the country. UNICEF said gangs now controlled 60% of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and many other areas. The BBC has found that TikTok is failing to remove videos that deny man-made climate change. It comes months after the platform said it would ban false information about global warming. Christine King Farris, the civil rights activist and sister of Martin Luther King Jr., has died at 95. She was her brother's last living sibling and had worked to preserve his legacy. President Biden has led tributes, saying she stood for peace, freedom and justice. BBC News.
The world in 2 minutes.
101.1 FM. And of course, you know we revolve around you. The Forum of Retired Permanent Secretaries, and they talk about pension as a move to ensure that welfare of staff in Akwa Ibom State are well addressed. And of course, we move to the promise by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to reform the financial institution and ensure that there is transparency in the budgets of the Federation. We came back to INEC and its standpoint that it has not wasted the public funds as far as the just concluded national elections is concerned. And the INEC Commissioner on Voter Education, Festus Okoye, made the comment in an attempt to defend the comments from Nigerians that INEC failed woefully during the just concluded elections, particularly in the area of uploading unit results across the respective polling units in Nigeria. But we'll move to the comment section, still on our Facebook page. Don't forget you can join the conversation on our Facebook page, Planet Radio 101.1 FM, or you can listen online at www.planet101fm.ng/radio/ of course, 0902-223-1011-0817-624 and 565 are the numbers for you to join the conversation this morning. Parliamentarian Itogo Ekan James, by the way, will be taking comments alongside with your phone calls, so get it call. Parliamentarian Itogo Ekan James says, good morning, People's Parliament. Itogo Ekan from Ikorudo in Mbad Indian. The federal government is intentionally inflicting pains on poor Nigerians. How can they remove fuel subsidy without controlling the increase in other notable products and services? How can poor Nigerians cope with humongous increase at the same time on petroleum products, electricity tariff, telecommunications, cable subscriptions, car proof of ownership, etc.? I humbly plead with our state government to commence monitoring of filling stations to monitor the quantity and quality of product dispensed by stations. Even at high cost that we pay, the meters are getting too bad and is highly affecting the consumers. Thanks for having me. Well, this is something we'll have to pay another attention to. We already know that the government is already in the business of sensitizing petroleum marketers in the state. There is currently a move by the government to ensure that those who are adjusting illegally their pump to ensure that they do not, or they shortchange Nigerians, they shortchange Akwa Ibomites and its residents will go in for it. First is the caution and an advice to all the petroleum markets in Akwa Ibom State to resist from such act. Managers of filling stations have been cautioned, they've been advised, owners of filling stations and the managers and the attendants themselves have been cautioned. We do hope they get to hear these and this is from such criminal activities. But let's get back to the phone lines. Good morning. Welcome to the plenary.
Good morning, Mr.
Welcome, Parliamentarian. Welcome, Innocent. You have the floor.
Okay, I want to comment about this for the first topic that the president said that they are saving either 4 billion. Yeah, I think it's 400 billion is a very welcome development. I think I want to say that palliative, those people they are not working, they will use their business to credit our account. We don't want the money to go to politicians because when the money gets to them, they will embezzle the money. That's my take this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. And as a way to attempt to answer the parliamentarian who said the price of electricity tariff is also increased. Well, as at yesterday, we didn't bring up an update where the DISCOs in Nigeria said as a result of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission not approving its planned move to hike the electricity tariff, they were going to wait pending the outcome of getting approval from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Authority. So there is no hike officially announced. The DISCO first, which of course should have kickstarted tomorrow, planned hike has been stayed. Actually, at this stage. But good morning, welcome to the plenary.
Good morning, my name is Mike.
All right, go ahead. You have the floor.
I want to speak on two things. Number one, is also advise the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or something. Mr. Speaker, sorry, this is my personal opinion. I think we are tired of saying Tinubu promised this, Tinubu promised that, Tinubu promised this. Is it promises. I know that on my own list about 9 promises. Every time you go to promises, you end it with Nigeria should try and deal with things. I think we are tired of hearing that. Me, I will suggest for now, just stop telling all these about Tinubu. Nobody watching. Then number 2, hello?
Yes, I'm with you, parliamentarian.
Then number 2, of issue of INEC coming to justify themselves. This is action that one can see. We are all graduates. You don't need professor to interpret the guiding of the INEC for us. You don't know. You have it paper. So you read it and you saw what happened. INEC coming to justify themselves. I think they should just prove it. Not just coming to say it and here this time and then. The last thing, hello?
If you parliamentarian, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Then the last thing, I think I've not heard you discuss the issue of 1,000 naira yearly being renewal of paper ownership. I've been expecting you to bring that on board, and we are not saying it. Then an issue of the electricity bill, they have come out to say they are not including it. Mr. Speaker, that is for midnight today now, we woke up Saturday morning to July 1st. We find out that they have implemented what they said they are not going to do. That is what they did on this short of 11 subsidy. We might wake up this night now, wake up tomorrow morning, July 1st. They do not have bill on Monday. We find out the implement of 30% is already there. Already people are taxed, they not tax any committee. Then lastly, an issue of apart the state, I want to urge the government, please, there is this for the side. There is also in terms of erosion. There is also Congress people giving as a man. If government can buy this land from them, have it from them, they will do something. They'll come there and do the irrigation for them. If you are coming from Peter to Eva, that Chinese comes to them. Come to that street, they're down. See, about 4 buildings as a man for the past 24 weeks now. You don't have where to live. Let's thank God that no life for lost. If government can come there and visit every family, buy all their land to be able to do irrigation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, parliamentarian. Had to notice your number, so probably reach out to you to get more information on the last issue that you've raised on the floor of the People's Parliament. But Nigeria is at a point where we all have to be responsible as individuals. Yes, officially, VISCO have said they have not increased their the electricity tariff. Officially, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has not given their approval. So if as a consumer you wake up and then you see there is an increase in the tariff that is brought to you for the month of July, when that has not been announced officially by the federal government, and of course the approval has not been given, then it's also time for us to take that individual responsibility of holding accountable these companies. They know that once the approval has not been given, they cannot implement it. But in an issue where they implemented illegally, should that ever get to happen, then Nigerians, is about time for us to take the responsibility of holding these people accountable. The law court is there. There are rights organizations within and outside the shores of Akwa Ibom State who can help you, drive these cases. There is no institution that is above the law, no person that is above the law. So yes, if we find this, maybe find some corrupt element within the electricity distribution companies who might take the opportunity or the advantage of the initial announcement made by DISCO to start increment effective tomorrow, July 1st, even when the company has officially said, okay, you know what, as far as the electricity distribution Electricity Regulatory Authority of Nigeria has not given that approval, we are staying action as far as the planned hike is concerned. That is about you, it's about me taking responsibility, being informed and updated about the happenings, and of course taking the bull by the horn to demand justice for the services that we are being given. FM, Uyo, and today we've been talking about three very important motions. We started off with the Kwabam State Governor's meeting with the Forum of Retired Permanent Secretaries over the lingering issue of harmonization of their pensions. We spoke about the Governor's meeting with the Forum and, of course, the resolve to address the issues amicably, the withdrawal of the case they instituted against the state government, and the fact that a committee has been set up to drive conversations and find lasting solutions to addressing the issues. Reactions from a Akwa Ibom State community live and on Twitter, where the state governor made a post about it, is that the governor is doing well, but he needs to look into the other areas, talking about retired primary school teachers and their next of kin, taking care of all the staff of Akwa Ibom State, both those who have retired and those who are currently working, in terms of emolument, in terms of prompt payment of salaries, ensuring that arrears are being given, and every other thing. And one of the parliamentarians called in to say, yes, for the first time, he received a palliative as a government worker, something that has not happened, and that is a step, many have said, is taken in the right direction. We also talked about President Tinubu has vowed to reform the financial system in Nigeria and ensure transparency in budgetary process. And we recall the area of budget padding in Nigeria, where the ministries and agencies of government and DAs would often go to the National Assembly either to support or to defend the budget, and then the committees at the Assembly will always find humongous amount of money padded into the different budgets that have been presented to the National Assembly and have been endorsed over time. And it raises the question as to why, MDAs and people saddled with the responsibility to guide and lead Nigeria will pad things into budgets. And then we'll have going back and forth counter blames and accusations on the parts of the leaders. And then that would oftentimes lead to reactions from Nigerians. But at this point, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is saying he's going to ensure that there is transparency and accountability. I'd like to get to hear your thoughts. 0902-223-101-017-624-565. Good morning. Welcome to the plenary. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for having me in the
You have the floor.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I think I just say thank you to my governor, His Excellency Pastor Lana, for taking this step first, because I think he, the previous administration, has taken this step by engaging the people, sitting one-on-one with them. I think this issue of that has become an endemic in the state. We wouldn't have been going up to this extent, talking about the issue of gratuity for teachers, next of kin, and even the local government, because this thing is not only for primary school sector only. Other sectors are also affected. So I think sitting with them one-on-one, I think it will help to curb the issue of the nepotism, because that was one of the issues that we were facing, like in past administration, when 100 million naira, 200 million naira is being going into for that payment. But the issue of nepotism will play out. You see that someone that supposed to collect, let me say 2004, but someone that in 2018 or 2020 will collect the money, but the person that is expecting couldn't get it. So I think it's a very welcome development, and I'm just saying that God should just help him to succeed. Then on the issue of this first subsidy, the government saying that they have recovered of 400 billion in the just 3 months. Mr. Speaker, it's not all about saying that 400 billion is being gotten in some weeks. The issue is that what are you going to use it for? What is the investment are you going to use the money so that it can improve the life of the common Nigerian? First, it's not all about saying that sacrifice, the Nigerians should sacrifice. You are not wrong. Because when the president came back from France, look at the number of convoys that followed him. People were saying that they know is the followers, the supporters that join, even the supporters that join president to the actual war. So I think that when you are saying that we should sacrifice, who wants to sacrifice? Because of this among expenditure in government, so that Nigerians will agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, parliamentarians. Well, as far as answering questions about what the money will be done, will be used for, Recalled in his inaugural speech, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu did say that the money that will be recovered from, putting an end to the era of fuel subsidy in Nigeria will be channeled to infrastructural development, to take care of security, to take care of the health sector, and of course other key areas that the president did mention. So it's about time. Yes, they've told us how much being recovered, and we'll continue to hear this comment from the presidency, but we'll watch out as well to see if these funds are utilized in the areas that the president has promised Nigerians. Going back to our Facebook page, parliamentarian Uboko Umana says, good morning, Mr. Speaker. May God help us through a hard time like this. I plead with our leaders to try and listen to broadcast stations so that they can hear from the masses. Ukomana from Mpatak Ikod Uba. Thank you very much, Engineer Uboko Ukoma, for joining us on the floor of the plenary this morning. And still on the Facebook page, I'd like to take some more comments. Once the comment, of course, we'll just head back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the plenary. Good morning, parliamentarian. Okay, I have to let you go there. Please try and connect us back. Hello, good morning, parliamentarian. Okay. To wrap up our conversations on the floor of the plenary for the very last session in the month of June. And if you had joined us earlier, recall I started off by commending us for the efforts that we make on it daily to ensure that we have robust conversations on the floor of the People's Parliament. And we talked about the move made by the Akwa Ibom State Governor, His Excellency Pastor Governor Umo Basi, towards ensuring that welfare of salaries, or welfare of staff rather, welfare of workers in Akwa Ibom State are being addressed, from those who are retired to those who are currently working. We've heard that palliatives are being given to government workers in his few days in office. It's yet to turn 1 month. And of course, in as much as he's taking these giant strides, there are some speculations or fears and concerns on the minds of Akwa Ibomites that when the power brokers and movers and shakers step in, the governor might not be able to do that. And many have also called on the governor to maintain his stand. And remember always that he is a pastor, and as a pastor he has sacred obligation, not just as the governor of Akwa Ibom State, but also as the preacher of the gospel, to lead by example. We moved away from that to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who has vowed to reposition the Nigerian financial sector and also to ensure that there is transparency in the budgeting of the nation. And the last was about INEC coming to a verified stand that it did not waste the money they collected from the Nigerian government, that's the taxpayers' money, as far as running of the 2023 general election was concerned. INEC Commissioner for Voter Education, Faustus Okoye, in an attempt to react to Nigerians, they say yes, there were glitches in the just concluded elections, there were situations that were registered, but that should not be enough to completely write off what happened in the just concluded elections. Yes, there were lessons to be learned. Yes, there were mistakes that were made, but then the system is better than it was a few years back. Still would have loved to get to hear your thought, but this is I think where we're going to draw the curtain. I'd like to appreciate you, parliamentarian, for being part of a success story on the floor of the People's Parliament for the month of June, the month of May, the month of April, March, February, and January, and every other year consistently for the past 10 years you've been here with us. Thank you so much. Congratulations on seeing the end of the year, or the end of the month of June, the end of the first half of the year 2023. Now, as we work into the new month, the new phase of the next second half of the year 2023, it's my utmost and urgent prayer that God will continue to bless you, bless all of us. Let us continue to be law-abiding citizens of Nigeria, patriotic sons and daughters of Akwa Ibom State, and continue to pray for our leaders, pray for the country, pray for the states, and then do our part to ensure that on a daily basis we work successfully through. My name is Francis Oyima, editor, the Speaker of the People's Parliament on Planet 101.1 FM, Uyo. You have yourself a very blessed day and happy new month of July to you in advance. Bye-bye.